to the program. We're already showed you the odds for the Western Canadian teams in the second half of the season. The three Canadian teams in the East, courtesy of FanDuel, the Montreal Canadiens, the only one of these three clubs to be in a postseason spot currently, and they are a big favorite to make the postseason. So let's start with the Montreal Canadiens, a team that Frankie knows very, very well. Frankie, Juraj Slafkovský, coming back from the Olympics. 8 points in 6 games. Everyone was talking about him, right? Everyone was talking about how energized he was. He was like, Chris Cuthbert was saying it on the broadcast. He's the most important player for Slovakia now. It's incredible, and he's still so young. Jaromir Jagr said about Slafkovský, I like Slafkovsky's game, maybe because I see myself in him when I was young. That's incredible.
I know, that's basically just saying he's got a massive caboose, isn't it?
A big butt, a giant butt. You do call a lot of Habs games, though, Frankie. You've seen him pretty much his whole career, his young career. What do you think he brings back from this Olympic experience?
The thing that he brings back is something that has been percolating already, and it started happening for him when he got moved away from Nick Suzuki and Cole Caulfield, is that he can drive it himself, right? Like when he got moved away from those guys, he wasn't just the puck retriever. He wasn't just the guy throw up down below the goal line and I'll go grind away and try and, work off my skill guys. He became, I'll skate with it, I'll carry it through the high traffic areas, I'll make plays, and I'll be a shooter, and at the same time, I'll finish my hits. And now we saw in a tournament where, you and Chris are right, like he was the most important player for Slovakia, and he lived up to it. And the thing that, we'll probably see here is as time goes on with Montreal, and they're playing in the playoffs year after year, and potentially competing for a Stanley Cup, it's not necessarily going to be about how many points. They're going to be there. It's going to be about how he does it. Like, does he bulldoze his way to the front of the net? Is he such an imposing figure that's hard to play against? That's going to be the thing that really separates him. And we talk about it, come playoff time. Certain guys are unicorns, right? I'm not going to call him a unicorn, but he has the ability in the way that he's going to go about things to be talked about like that. And I think that's what you would take away from an experience like this.
We know they added Danault, and it seems like that's sort of the move of the year that they have made. Second in the Atlantic, by the way, coming out of the break. But do you see another move coming, maybe from Kent Hughes by next Friday?
Sounds weird to say. I wouldn't be surprised either way. Like, if he made a move, it wouldn't surprise me. But if he didn't, it wouldn't surprise me. And the reason why I say that is they've been very calculated with how they've done things. The moves that they have made outside of the big ones have been minor things. You bring a guy like Phil Danault in because you need some help down the middle. You need a left-handed shot to win some faceoffs. You bring in Alex Texier because he has some skill. It's a low acquisition cost, nothing basically, right? And Phil Danault it's not a consequential thing either, but he's provided something for the team. They don't have to make a big move just to make a big move, just to bring in a 35-year-old, 36-year-old because they're second in the Atlantic Division. If they're going to do something big, it has to be, the right fit for where they're going long term. I think of Noah Dobson, right? Like mid-20s kind of guy, sign him to an extension, going to grow together with the group.
And kind of fell into their laps in a way.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
So if that deal is not available to them and it doesn't materialize, then you're probably not doing anything, and you're saying we're still going to be patient, we're still going to be calculated, because we're not in an all or nothing situation. We are in a let's be good for a long time situation. Make the right move.
Okay. It's time to talk about the Ottawa Senators and Toronto Maple Leafs, who both are at 63 points, 6 points out of that final Eastern Conference wildcard spot. And yet, the prevailing wisdom seems to be that everyone's high on the Sens and everyone's not so high on the Maple Leafs. First of all, is that the way you see it?
Absolutely. Yeah,
right?
Yeah. The Sens, if you look at their defensive numbers this year, those are the kinds of numbers that first-place teams, Colorado, Florida when they're at their best, Tampa Bay, that's what they are, except they haven't got saves this year, and that's really what's held them back. So if you look at that, they're a better defensive team than they were last year, better offensive team than they were last year. Just they're in the standings. It's just they're not where they need to be, but I think they're a good team.
So would you make a big move if you're Steve Staios before Friday?
There's one area where you look at if you're Ottawa and you say that's our priority area. And it's not really up front. It's not down the middle. They have a lot of guys up front. In fact, I think they're well suited up front. It's on the right side of their decor because they go Zub, They go Jensen, and then they go Spence. And, Matt and Paolo's essentially been a healthy scratch for a little while now. But Jensen is coming off that, hip resurfacing, so he hasn't been to his level. He's trying his best out there, clearly. Jordan Spence is a good player. He's a smaller guy, right? Like, better suited for that third pair role. But if you can bring in a guy like Mackenzie Weegar and put him there, like, now you're talking, right?
Yeah.
Like, it slots everyone differently. Your right side of your decor has a little more bulk, a little more muscle, a little more power, puck moving ability. Like, that would be a significant move for them. But that's the area because, you look at the left side of the ice, you're like, Sanderson, Chabot, Tyler Clevin. It's great.
They're rocking.
Yeah, they have a really good roster. That's the one area that you would maybe want a little improvement.
Ooh, mac and cheese coming to the nation's capital. I love that idea. Okay, the insiders noted earlier in the show that if Bobby McMann and Scott Laughton contract extensions look too rich, they will be moved. I don't think there would be any shortage of teams that would love to add one or both of those players, but if you're the Maple Leafs, would you be looking to maybe move on from these guys at this point, considering where you are in the standings?
I would have had my decision made up a long time ago about that. Like,
right.
the Leafs have shown us all we need to know about where they are this year. They're going to be very tough to make the playoffs. Like, they're going to have to go on a heater here to just even be in the conversation of making the playoffs, okay? And then if they were to get there, are they threatening anyone? Is anyone scared that they could go on a run? Let's call a spade a spade.
Right.
Probably not. So guys that are UFAs, you have to get something for them because every year it's assets out and guys in that are UFAs or moving on at some point. It's just the reality of the cycle that they've been in. So if you can get something for Bobby McMann, if you can get something for Scott Laughton, both those guys will fetch pretty good returns. And then anyone else that you can grab a pick or two along the way that isn't a part of your nucleus that you think can help you win next year, you have to do it. Like, I think you look at Boston, what they did last year, and you say, that's what we need to do. Do you have a Brad Marchand? No. But, like, they moved on from guys like Charlie Coyle and Trent Frederick. And so, you can get things back. It's almost like you're starting to plan for next year now. You're not waiting until July 1st to do it. That's how you would look at it if you're Toronto.
The way Boston retool, I mean, people always I feel like they throw around the word retool too much.
Yeah.
That was a true retool at the
kidding.
deadline for Boston last year. Just a master stroke. This guy's amazing. Frankie, thanks so much for this. Appreciate you.